Hey gorgeous, welcome to Happy Go Fabulous. I am so thrilled that you're here. This is our space where we get real about life, the good, the messy and all the juicy bits in between. Real talk, real life and a whole lot of delicious living. But I must warn you, listening may cause unexpected outbreaks of fabulousness and real life magic. Hi, I'm Catherine and I am so incredibly passionate about helping inspired, motivated, impact-driven, freedom-seeking people just like you to do the deep inner work to create those beautiful outer wonders in life. It's all about revolutionising your relationship with yourself, where you fall madly, deeply in love with who you are and create a life so fabulous you can't wait to jump out of bed every morning to live it. Ready? Because ordinary living is so last season. Life's waiting and it's time to make it fabulous. Let's shimmy on in. Hey gorgeous, how are you? I'm super excited. I'm not exactly sure how I feel at the moment about recording this podcast. It's a big one. It's going to be a big one. And it's on the back of, I have just spent a month, a little bit more than a month, where I've disappeared from the public eye. And I'm just going to share with you why I did that, what it's been about, and what I did and the insights and kind of what's happened from that time that I've disappeared out of public view, and just share with you about that. So let me tell you, and this podcast will be a little bit, maybe it's going to be longer than what it usually is. I have a feeling that that's going to take me a while to sort of explain some of the really profound things that have happened for me and the reason why I've gone on it. And I've actually struggled a little bit, to be really honest with you. When I record a podcast, I generally get an idea about a topic and I talk from my heart about what's going on for me. That's the energy that I certainly operate from for my podcast. I respond to topics that are sort of relevant that I know other women and my clients are going through. And so I do put structure into them, but they are very free flowing. And when I have a guest on my podcast, I invite them on because there's something I'm interested in finding out about from them. And so the question, it's like a conversation. And for me, I love the guest podcasts. They flow really, really easily for me. The ones where I'm sharing more of the rawness, the realness, the vulnerableness, I do struggle with those. And a lot of people have asked me to do more personal episodes, wanting to hear more about my view of the world and what's going on for me. I love that, but I also don't love that. So I have put a lot of thought into this, and I was going to record it probably a week or more ago, but I've wanted to kind of capture the enormity of what this month away has been for me, and I'm not sure I'm going to do it justice, and I want to do it justice, and I like to have structure, and I like to not be waffly, and I'm going to really trust that what comes forward is what needs to be shared in this podcast episode today. But I do have a feeling that it's probably going to be a little bit longer than some of the others that I share with you. So anyway, it's called my Queen of My Life activation. So what the 33 days of devotion has kind of shifted in me. And so the reason I went on this journey, like you know me, I am all about growth and transformation and personal development and really doing the inner work. That's my purpose in life. I know that, to do my own, but to help others to do theirs. So I went on this journey. Honestly, it's been brewing for a while. The last 18 months, as you know, have been probably Have they been the most challenging? They've been really challenging for me for a number of reasons. They've probably not been, they've been challenging. I left Canberra, so my home that for more than 40 years, I had lived in Canberra. And I finally made the move to this dream that I've had for so long to move to our seaside sanctuary. And on the outside, that looks like the dream came true. And, in so many ways, it absolutely has. It definitely has come true. The dream has been beautiful. It has been amazing. There are no regrets, but there have been challenges alongside that dream coming true. And, at the same time, I was carrying this enormous amounts of grief. And with grief, for those of you who is probably everybody listening has gone through elements of grief, and we carry it. It's just different. It shows up differently, but so I have carried this enormous amount of grief. And I guess the most recent of that was when my niece suddenly passed away, just, I guess, in the process of us pursuing this dream of our lives. And it really cracked something open in me. And it really reignited that feeling I had after my mum passed away, that it's not okay to be happy, especially when other people are sad, but it's not okay to live this beautiful life that you have been creating, and that it's not okay to enjoy this new life when I was weighed down by so much sadness. And it was something that I experienced a lot of after my mum passed away. And through this 33 days of devotion, I've discovered that I have carried that for many, 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 many lifetimes. And I'll get more into that as we go. And I've explained this to you in other episodes that I've recorded about really the past 18 months, I have felt like I've had this seatbelt that has kept me locked in. And the seatbelt, when it's locked and you can't move, like you literally can't move, you're pinned. And when you try and release it, the harder you pull and release it, the tighter it becomes. And I felt like that, I would say, for the first 12 months of being here. And that it was just like, I wanted to move forward, but it was just like, no, gorgeous, you need to heal. You need to heal. And it's just, this is lifetimes of healing. And this is your time to slow down, to recalibrate, and to heal. So I've done a lot. I continue to do a lot. I'm on a forever healing journey, but I really surrendered into that and retreated. It felt like this retreat into, I didn't become a recluse, but it was this retreat into me that I really needed to heal. And then I would say at the beginning, maybe the beginning of this year, the seatbelt started to loosen, but I still felt like I wasn't fully free. And I could move, but I was still strapped in. And at the beginning, it was probably at the beginning of this disappearance from the public eye that I had a Ayurvedic consultation, and I was talking to the practitioner about what was going on in life. It was like a holistic consultation, and I explained this feeling trapped in the seatbelt, and he said to me, what would it feel like to be free? And what would it take to release that seatbelt? And I'm like, far out, fucking fuck. They're the questions that I've been kind of wrapping my head around for a long time. What would it feel like to be free? What would it take to release myself? And what are the next steps? So that was part of what's been kind of bubbling away, that, I've shared some of that with you. I haven't shared it all with you, and I probably won't share everything with you, but there are elements that I absolutely will. And that I felt like I needed to do some really next level healing for me. So that was part of the reason for this 33 days of devotion. But another part was being online just sucked the energy right out of me. Like, it just felt like it was sucking what any sense of, I don't even know what it is, just was sucking the energy out of me. That there was particular things that were showing up for me is that everybody was just starting, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of the people that I follow, and I follow a certain, cohort of people, but they were sounding so generic, so similar, and so like, where's their differentiation? And I'm sure AI has a lot to do with this. You get the mega prompt, you plug it in, and then it kind of says that it's giving you something unique to you. It's not. It's so not. And anyway, that triggered something big in me, and I went, I need to just have time away from this space. So, I've disappeared from the public eye. I've still been very, very busy, and lots of beautiful things have been happening, but I just needed to step away from that. And what does that mean for me? Like, what does that mean for me showing up, and how do I want to show up? If I'm getting triggered by this sense of genericness, what does that actually mean for me? So it was almost like that was part of the instigation to step away from the public eye and just really work out who I want to be when I grow up and in this next phase of my life. So I sort of thought, yep, I'm going to step away for a month. And then it was just like, no, I'll do my 33 days of devotion. And I've talked about that before as well, that I do. 33 is such a significant number. It's that, master number. It's in spirituality, it's a number of a teacher, a healer, and the one who embodies wisdom as well. And it's also about the significance of 3 and 3, so mind, body, and spirit, and like just huge significance for me. So a month became 33 days of like the most powerful recalibration that I think I've experienced for a very, very, very long time. So it's been beautiful. So the process I went through was I made the decision, step away from the public eye and really devote, not just go, what's going to happen in, just not be online for 33 days, but really devote to myself, to uncovering some layers that were starting to resurface. And it was about intentional, structured devotion. And I wanted to create space for some real shifts, because I think, even in the last 18 months, my healing has certainly been intentional. I've devoted a lot of time to it, but this felt a bit different. This was like, I really want to devote some times to, releasing this seatbelt. And so what I did is I like structure. I like structure. I like to be free flowing, but I also like to have structure as well. So I came up with this process, and it was came from a similar process that I had done while I was studying spiritual psychology. And in the second year of that program, there was a project where it was called the Sacred Yes Project. And it's where we devoted, where were we going to say yes in our lives? And we devoted 12 months to that. And mine was about very much devoting to myself. And I was going through some huge, huge challenges then. That was when my dad was very unwell and we needed to move him into aged care. And there was a whole lot of stuff around that. It was it was still during COVID, and there was a lot of stuff happening. So the second year on the project was really about devoting to me. And I called it Project Majesty because during some of our lessons, somebody had said something. Oh, it was the course instructor, actually. She talked about sovereignty. And I went, sovereignty. What does sovereignty actually mean? Because that's not a word that's not a word that I use or had used. But sovereignty was really about this self-empowerment, this, owning and claiming the beauty of who you are. And it was all the things that I stood for and believed in. But the word sovereignty, it was just like, So my project, my Sacred Yes project, I called it Project Majesty. And so majesty and sovereignty sort of were interrelated. And it was about, how do I really become that queen of my own life? And I use that in a lot of my, my marketing language as well, is to become the queen of your life and to be the designer of your own glorious destiny. And when I was thinking about this 33 days, that I wanted to put some structure around this devotion, it was just like, yeah, this is I called it the Project Majesty Blueprint. And that was what kind of my working title. But I think just as I was about to start, it became the Queen of My Life activation. And it was really activating who I am as the queen in my own life and the designer of my own glorious destiny. And that felt really, really good. So there was 33 days of devotion in this Queen of My Life activation. And I broke it down over the 4 and a bit weeks. And the first part was about getting really, really, really honest. Like, where am I at? What feels heavy? What needs to be released? And then it was sort of moved into, that was very much about week 1. I'll talk more about the weeks as I go through. Then week 2 was about reclaiming my sovereignty, personally and in business as well. The business parts, it kind of came about in week 3. But this is a holistic process. This wasn't just about me healing grief. This was about me and how I want to show up in my business, and what does that look like in this phase of my life. And so I wanted it to be, really holistic. And then weeks 3 and 4, I started to really weave that business strategy into it, but from a deeper personal place. So that was sort of my 4-week overview of the process. And I had it, I don't know if you can see here, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, that I had it printed out. I have it all, that looks very structured, but I had the 4 weeks printed out, and I named each of the weeks. They had different themes. So week 1 was about the crown cleanse. That was about energy recalibration and the sovereign release. Week 2 was about my inner court. This was about identity reclamation and soul alignment. And then week 3 was about the embodied queendom and the sacred strategy hall. This was embodiment and a soul aligned strategy for my whole life. And then week 4 was the royal return. So visibility, voice, and reemergence. So how do I want to reemerge after this 33 days of disappearance? So I gave myself loose prompts. I went through and I planned those all out before I started. This wasn't make it up as I go along. I like to have, as I said, I like that structure, and I like to have it mapped out. So I mapped it out just so I could focus on things each day, but it still left space for what wanted to come through. And there was so much stuff that I had not anticipated. It was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, it was so cool. It was super, super cool. So anyway, the 4 weeks, I'll talk more about this later, but it's become, it's going to become one of my programs that I run, that it's formed. Like, it was so powerful for me that I want to share that with others. So anyway, I'll talk more about that later. If you're interested, just message me, say, let me know when it's ready, because I'm still working on that. And then for every day, I had my little ritual. So remember, this is a devotion. This, and I love rituals. Like, I love rituals around things. So I'd come into my office where I am now, and I have a beautiful little meditation area here as well. And I would light incense. So the first thing I would do is I would light incense, and then I would do a card reading. So I would pull different cards for the energy of the day. And in the first week, I remember cards were just jumping out. It's like, here you go, girlfriend. This is what we've got to share with you this week. And it was wild. God, my relationship with my cards and the tarot and guidance has just skyrocketed in these 33 days as well. And then I'd set an intention for the day, and I'd move into the practice that I designed for that day. I have some energy sprays that I use. I won't get them now. They're up in my little that's why I keep looking over there. They're in a different area, but there's different energies. So I would just grab one of those and spray it on me. And I also used the bushflower essences. There was one there that I used for the 33 days, which was about focus and devotion. So I'd do my card reading, I would spray, then I would drop the bushflower essences under my tongue, and then I would move into the practice for the day. And I had it in my, they're just, on the surface they look pretty light on. Fuck, they were deep. They were deeper than, and I kind of channeled the process. I sat and it just was guided through me. It was channeled through me, and I'm kind of going, okay, that seems like a pretty good structure. I'm going to trust that. And the first one was day one. So it was declaring my disappearance. And this is for me. This isn't for you guys. This was for me. And it was write my royal decree. Why am I stepping back? What am I claiming? And what am I ready to release? So that set the intention for the 33 days. And then I would just journal on that. And I would journal, I would take notes, I would voice memo, I did so many laps around my labyrinth during these 33 days, and it became, I would say, supercharged. It became supercharged. I became supercharged, did lots and lots of laps around the labyrinth. And so I would do my more practice in the morning, because that's when my energy is the strongest, and that works for me. I already have beautiful morning practices that I use, and that I incorporated this into it. Sure, it did take longer. Some days it didn't take any amount longer because I incorporated it into my daily practice. Other days it did take a lot. Oh, I'm just thinking now, maybe it was an hour. Maybe it was an hour extra. I don't think there was anything that took more than that. But anyway, it was amazing. And then a couple of other practices that became anchor practices was one of the rituals that I've used for many years, and I learned it from a mentor of mine, Tori Archbold, and it was about putting 3 drops of lavender on your décolletage when you're in the shower. And that's about calling in my spiritual team. And this became a really beautiful and powerful part of my 33 days of my Queen of My Life activation. And there was a lot of dream work as well. Like in that first 2 weeks, there was just so many hugely lucid, powerful dreams and messages that came through those that I interpret far out. They were they were amazing. My dreams were on fire, vivid, rich. They were loaded with so much juicy goodness. So each morning I'd work with the dreams, I'd interpret them, and I'd just pull threads through. So that was in addition to my daily practices that I'd set for myself. But that dream interpretation was kind of woven into my general morning walk and ritual anyway. And then I journaled. Every day I have kept a record. And it'll be cool to read through that again. It's been cool. I've kind of skimmed through it to get to this point to give you a little bit of a summary, but I kept a record, and there were so many powerful, profound messages and healings that have happened. So I kept a record of what was shifting, what was coming through, what I was feeling. And that part was really key for me. So by the end of the 33 days, I've got this kind of beautiful map of the transformation that's happened, because I'll be really honest with you. Recording this now, so I'm a couple of weeks post my 33 days of devotion. And the reason I just wasn't ready to share that with you, it was still kind of integrating. And a lot of it has integrated so quickly that I've forgotten what the thing was that I was dealing with that was really big at the time. And so I've got my journal where those 33 days mapped out, and I've got some really beautiful other hugely profound bits of content, I guess I would call it, for me to refer back to. So the process was pretty simple. Maybe I'm making it sound complex. I'm not. It was simple. Oh, maybe I am, but it was simple. It was a clear container. It was 33 days divided into 4 stages. I had daily rituals and practices and a deep devotion. Devotion for me was the key to it. And the combination, oh man, I don't know if you can see or feel or the combination has just changed so much, so incredibly much. And I'm going to try and share with you what some of those changes are, but I think we'll see what comes forward. We'll see what comes forward. So week 1, the crown cleanse. This was all about release and recalibration. It was letting go of lots and lots and lots of old stuff to make space for what I want for this next phase of my life to be. So I mentioned to you that day 1 was about writing my royal decree, like why I'm disappearing. This was not, I didn't say on social media, I'm away for a month, I'll see you later, this is why I'm leaving. I just stopped showing up. And there was some bits that were auto-generated about my podcast. They were scheduled there. I did not do those live at all. I might have scrolled through messages just to check, because there's some people I keep in contact with through messages. To be honest, I might have scrolled through once a week, if that. So I really, the decree about my disappearance, that was for me. That was setting the intention. That was for me, my guides, my energy space. So it was really about stepping back from the noise. It was about recalibrating, realigning, recharging, and then setting that intention to re-emerge, but really getting clarity and having conviction about who I am in this phase of my life. It wasn't about disappearing to hide by any means. It was about disappearing to reset and to come back with a renewed energy, fire in my belly. It was really about disappearing to release that seatbelt. If I break it down, I did a full digital detox. So day 2 was unfollow. It was a digital cleanse. Unfollow, unsubscribe, delete excess noise, and detoxing my digital space. So I went through and I unfollowed a whole lot of people that I followed and admire, but just was getting triggered by. And I was just like, I don't want that energy. I really don't want that energy. I deleted a whole lot of apps. I went through my emails and unsubscribed from all of that fluff and clutter that just I do not need in my life. So it was a real digital cleanse that I went through. And it was about really being very discerning about what I want in my space. And this was the start of reclaiming who actually gets access to me. That where am I giving my energy? Where am I allowing my energy to be taken away? Where am I letting people in? And who actually gets access to me? Because I don't want everybody to have access to me. Sorry. And then day 3 was really about when things started to shift. There was a lot of outdated beliefs, and I just laid them out. I just really went through, what was the prompt for day 3? Identify outdated beliefs and energetically release them, burn them, rip them, bury them. So I just went through and what are all the things that are just no longer true for me? And lots of journaling and lots of burning. Man, that was cool. That was cool. And then it was about, I was feeling stuck, and what are some of the reasons as to why I'm feeling stuck? And there was that they were outdated. They were very outdated beliefs, and it was about recoding them. So when I identify what's outdated, then I recoded them into what is now a truth. and I claimed the truth for me. So a process I went through, and yeah, there was a lot of insights in that. And then I started writing out who I am in my sovereign self. So naming who I really want to be as that queen of my life, getting really clear, really specific, and really connecting with my sovereign self. And do you know what? It was day 5. There was a huge release. Holy dooly. And the prompt was, move your body in a way that feels like release, and then journal what emotions are being cleared. And I remember walking around the labyrinth, and I was doing this whole release walk, and my body locked up, my breath went tight, and I got this really sharp pain and a headache, a sharp pain behind my eye and a headache, and I felt instantly tired, like I was, who's that chick? Was it Sleeping Beauty? Or someone that I felt like I just had to go and lie down and go to sleep. And I realized that I've been carrying this belief that, what I did, I was just like, wow, that's a weird reaction, because this is about releasing. And the reaction was tightening, pain, tiredness. And then I did some connecting with my team of guides and going, what was that about? Like, really, what was that about? That was weird. And I don't feel safe to let go. I don't feel safe to release. It's not safe to fully let go. And the deeper layer was, and so this was kind of like I get these insights through journaling. I get these insights through my guides that come through. And it was that the message that came through, it's not safe to let go. And the deeper layer is, it's not that I'm scared of letting go. It's that I'm scared of what happens if nobody's there to catch me when I do. And then it was just like, fuck, that I'm hanging on to things because I don't feel supported in case when I let go. And I'm just going, of course I'm supported. I have the most beautiful, supporting, loving husband who is always there, unconditionally supporting me. I have a beautiful family. I have friends. I have community. But the subconscious belief, the old belief was that it's not safe. I'm scared of what happens if nobody's there to catch me. So I need to keep control. I need to keep hanging on to things in case there's nobody there to support me. And this is like, oh man, let's dive a little bit deeper with this one. And it really showed me how the seatbelt is keeping me safe. The seatbelt that's keeping me locked in, strapped into this safety, is a seatbelt of safety and control. So it's about always feeling like I need to hold it together, always being the strong one. And I know I could probably name all the girlfriends that I have that feel that same feeling, that why do I have to be the fucking strong one that holds it together? You know, the seatbelt has kept me safe, but it's also kept me restricted. That's when I started playing with the idea of, how do I keep myself safe? What do I need? What does my body need? What does my spirit need to feel safe to let go? And protecting myself with love and not fear, and supporting myself and not abandoning myself. That was freaking huge. And that still is kind of, that has been running through. And I had all these dreams that were about fear and not feeling safe, and all of these parts of my life that just came flooding back to me, where I haven't felt safe to let go. And, you know, every night there was symbols, there was messages about fear, about comparison, about being left behind. And they were showing me everything that was bubbling underneath. And a lot of these were from my younger self, the younger part of me who feared so many different things. And out of it came a huge amount of forgiveness work. And so when I was doing that morning lavender on my décolletage, it became a lot of reconnection. It was a lot of inner child work. It was a lot of parts integration, and there was a lot of soul retrieval. Parts that I hadn't connected with for a very, very long time were wanting to come forward. And the process that I go through, there's a beautiful process, and that it is about allowing the parts of me that want to be heard to come forward. And this process happened. It kind of came forward to me. I think I don't know. I can't even remember when. But there's all the parts of me that sit together, and we're in this beautiful, beautiful field of just wildflowers, and we're all wearing white, which is interesting. I've got white on today. White's hugely significant for me, but it's that real purity there. So it's the purity of all the parts of me. And then we sit together, and if any part of me wants to come forward and share anything or ask for anything, they can do it. So lots of parts of me came forward, and parts of me that I have not connected with. I'm 59 now, so I haven't connected with them since I was a young child, and they came forward, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful integration that happened. And so lots of forgiveness work. There was lots of letters and processes of forgiveness to myself, to my body, to different parts of me and people in my lives. And that was a hugely, deeply clearing week. And that came from that activity of just moving, like it feels like release. And it was just like, that does not feel like release. And why doesn't it feel like release? And then some really profound clearing work happened in the first week. And what I did to sort of bring that week to a close was, what am I no longer available for? This was about the energy and the boundary reset. What am I no longer available for in my life? And I just listed a huge list of things that I'm just not going to put up with anymore. I'm not available. I'm not available for a whole lot of, I'm not even going to go through that with you. But then it's like, well, what am I claiming that I am available for? What am I not available for? All the stuff that I'm letting go and releasing and just don't want in my life. And then what do I want? And what am I available for? And that was just a beautiful process, again, of releasing, but now starting to bring in. And I know at the end of that week, because I came up with these other little rituals that came out of it. And one of them was around, I did write a Queen of My Life activation script, and that became a daily embodiment mantra. And I recorded that and I listened to it every day. And it was just about, who am I as the queen of my life? And that was beautiful. And there was one bit that came out. I'm just trying to find it. If you can hear me flicking through. Can't find it. Isn't that funny? I was just flicking through my notes there. So anyway, I ended the week with what I am available for. And the new rhythm that landed was really simple but powerful. It was what I was looking for. It was about letting go and let in, that it's safe to let in and to receive. So it's safe to let go and it's safe to let in. And that became sort of my mantra for the first week. Let go and let in. That was cool. And so this first week was really hugely powerful release. And then it was about receiving. It was about softening. So there was a whole lot of stuff about fear and protection and protecting myself from a very harsh energy. So the first week was very much about softening to open, and let go, then let in. And I am protected with love. And that was just the first week. And it really set the tone for the next week. It was, I loved that so much. I probably could have stopped there, but the second week was about the inner court. So this was about now the identity reclamation and soul alignment. So this is when things really started to shift from clearing to claiming. And this wasn't just about letting go anymore. It was about remembering who I am and starting to live as her. And it began with a vision of my future self, so 6 months ahead. So at the beginning of 2026, I wrote from that space. So I wrote it all out, just sitting by the beach, watching the sunrise, tears rolling down my face, not from sadness, but from pure joy. I could feel her, this calm, grounded, confident woman who trusts herself deeply, who's not hustling or proving or fixing, but simply being. She's lit up, she's magnetic, she's unapologetic, she's in love with who she is, she's in love with her work and her life. And just even when so I've kept a record of that in my journal, that letter, and it just makes me so proud of just the work that I'm doing, because the woman isn't someday anymore. It's the woman who I am now. And I have been, but I've had a lot of stuff, the heaviness of life. That was something that really came forward for me, was about how much heaviness that I've been carrying through life. Some of my own, but a lot of it not my own. And from there, so from that beautiful letter that I wrote to myself from my future self back to me now, I wrote my Queen codes out. And this was just such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful process. Every process was beautiful, but it was just, I look at that. I have the Queen codes there. I have my North Star mantra that I go through, and it's the embodiment of my truth, my devotion, my way of being, and who I came here to be in this lifetime. So, and then I've written through my core Queen codes, and it's my North Star mantra, really being fully me, radiant, authentic, and unapologetically fabulous, and really owning that, and living in pure bliss and beauty, and also about living my most beautiful and richly abundant life. So I came up with and these aren't something that I just went, oh, the first time I'm writing my codes, life codes out, but I repackaged them about my Queen codes. And it was about just my soul frequency, what my devotion in life is, and the power and the purpose of who I am. And the words are everything to me now. They're not just words on paper. They have so much meaning and embodiment. They're not concepts. They're actual anchors. They're my way of being, my compass. They're my devotion. And I love how it came to me that this is about my anchor and also the compass. So it was what keeps me stable, but it also sets the direction for my life. And so hugely meaningful for me. And I got really, really, really super clear on my codes, and it taking what I've already had as being hugely meaningful, but making them more hugely meaningful. And so that became my foundation for this next week. So my life, my life's built on these codes. So everything I am and everything I do orients around them. And there were other really powerful threads that came through week 2. The end of week 2, I think it might have been day 5 of week 2. I'm just trying to think. It was day 13. So I think it was day 6 of week 2. Create a soundtrack for my queen of my life and then own it. And I have soundtracks for a lot of different things. And I've shared this with you before about part of the manifesting process is, what can we see? What can we visualize? What can we imagine? What can we feel? But what can we hear? And sound has a really, really powerful anchor for us. And I was putting my queen of my life soundtrack together, and I was drawing on some of the songs that I've had for different eras of my life. And one of them was about the creating this beautiful dream of my seaside sanctuary. I had a playlist for that, and there were some songs on it which are definitely queen of my life songs. So I transferred them onto this new playlist, and I was listening to it one morning. Oh, I'd had a conversation with a friend, and it just happened to be the day before I was putting the soundtrack together. And we were talking about, what sums up her life. She has written a book, and she said, I am a survivor. I am absolutely a survivor of all these things that have happened in life. And she said, you're a survivor. And I said, yeah, I don't know. I don't resonate with that word survivor. And I was pondering around, what does that mean? What does it mean to be a survivor? And sure, I've had a lot of crappy stuff happen, but I've never resonated with being a survivor. And anyway, on my playlist, I was listening one morning, and there was a song, Revival, by Selena Gomez. Holy, holy, holy far outness. That song just locked into my DNA. And I went, this is not about survival. And I think she says that in the lyrics of the song. This is not survival, this is revival. It's my own salvation, and it's about revival. And that I'm not just here to survive, I'm here to revive. And when I heard that song, that has become my anthem. This 33 days of devotion has been about revival. This past 18 months has been about revival. The years leading up to this have been about revival. And it's about recalibrating, resetting, but revival. And that has changed everything. And I think the lyrics are around, it's my time to shine, and it's my time to butterfly. And I went, holy fuck, like that just sums up. It's a rebirth. I think she even starts off the song as, this is a rebirth. And I'm going, I feel like that. I feel like that this is a real renewal. It's a revival. And that song, I listen to it every day, and it is so powerful and empowering. And it just gets me into that state of the queen of my life that I am. And there's also a couple of other songs there that, Be the Change and The Courage to Change by Sia. And Be the Change is a different song. And these songs have held me, they've ignited me, they've reminded me of what I'm rising into. And another layer of me has stepped forward when I listen to those songs and to the playlist of the Queen of My Life activation. And there was something really interesting too. So in week 2, I go to the markets here at Maruya in our little village, and they're really amazing regional markets. They such beautiful. There's produce, but there's beautiful creations, handmade creations. There's people on selling other stuff. And there's a woman that has denim jackets, but she puts images of Frida Kahlo on the back of them. And I've seen those jackets before, and I'm just going, yeah, I do not relate to Frida Kahlo at all. There's something about her that repels me. And anyway, this day at the markets, so this would have been, I think it was day 1 of week 3. I was at the markets and I saw the jackets, and it's almost like they were a magnet and they drew me to them. And I'm just going, what the fuck? Like, really? And there was something, it was like Frida was talking to me. So it's a denim jacket. They're upcycled denim jackets that the woman gets. And then she puts the images of, it's fabric with Frida Kahlo on it. And I went, I have to have one of those. And they didn't have a jacket in my size. And I tried one on, and it was a bit big, but it was just, when I put it on, it's like Frida just wrapped her arms around me, and she whispered into my ears, that I am you and you are me. And I'm going, what the fuck? Like, really? What the fuck? Because there's something about you that repels me. I don't know a lot about her. So I came home and Googled, and then she really embodies radical self-expression. She's unapologetically vulnerable, and she has a whole lot of resilience through beauty and pain. She's a rebel, she's an artist, and she's the one who makes her life a canvas. And I realized she is me and I am her. And the reason, she's a symbol for me, and it's not lost on me that happened in my Queen of My Life activation, that when I wear that jacket, it's almost like the embodiment of that radical self-expression, just owning who I am and the beauty of who I am, even through the pain of what I've been through. And that was just hugely, hugely profound, so symbolic. And even if you look here at this little necklace charm that I wear, and I want to do a shout out to my girlfriend Suze from Green Glass Studios. She created this for me, and we've been working on this for some time, and I got it, I think I received it, maybe it was week 3. I didn't do it at the beginning. I had commissioned her to do this before I was going to do the Queen of My Life activation. But what this represents is the little Ananda symbol, which is the flower with the heart in it. And that signifies bliss for me. It's about living, because Ananda in Sanskrit means bliss and joy. And so Suze created this with gold, a gold heart. And she was the one that said, "Oh my God, Catherine, your heart is just pure gold." And then on the little bit underneath is the sun rising, which is also in the shape of a crown. So this was even before I came up with the title of Queen of My Life activation, but it was really important that sun was a crown, and it's also got the waves of the beach. So the energy that is held in this talisman is hugely symbolic and profound as well, and the energy of it. And the kind of just going off track a little bit here, but I've done some work with Suze, some coaching with her. She's a beautiful artisan and creates this beautiful jewelry out of recycled materials. And when I was doing some work with her, there was, I think it was an Akashic Records reading that had come through that she needs to create a talisman for herself and what her symbols are. And hers was about the moon and a cross. And because she's such a beautiful craftsperson and artisan, that she made this beautiful charm for her necklace. And I went, "Oh my God, I need one of those as well." And so we were working on the design of this, and we brought it alive, and I got it I think I got it a few days after I got the jacket of Frida Kahlo. So the symbolism is hugely important to me. And to be able to wear that to my heart, but also have the symbols and the energy of those symbols is just amazing. So Suze, if you're not following her, Green Glass Studios, and just hugely, sorry, off on a tangent there. So Frida, hugely symbolic. And that the end of week 2, I really felt like this whole fog was starting to lift. I wasn't questioning myself anymore. I wasn't comparing or shrinking or apologizing. I was really standing in the codes that I had created for myself and singing my anthems and writing my own rules. Now, I've always follow my own rules for life, but this is where I really released a lot of stuff that had been holding me back from, I guess, fully embodying those rules that I'd written for myself. So it was the week that I stopped asking who I am and started declaring, I am her. That was awesome. Sorry, this is a longer episode. If you need, I'm sure, take breaks, come back and listen to the next parts as you go through. But week 3. So week 2, I reckon, was probably the peak. That was the peak. Oh, maybe into week 3 was the peak. And this is where my Queen of My Life activation really started to merge the personal with the business. The first 2 weeks were pretty much about personal. And it was mainly about that inner work, the clearing, the reclaiming, the recoding. But now it's so week 2 was about the embodied queendom and the sacred strategy hall. So this is where I stepped into not just looking at me as the queen of my life, but what does that look like for my business as well? And this week, there was a lot of stuff that got released. It was almost like week 1 was releasing, week 2 was reclaiming, then back into week 3 was a lot more releasing again. And there was a lot of the theme was about the heaviness of what I've been carrying, not just through this lifetime, but through many, many lifetimes. What's draining me, what feels open, exciting, and expansive. And on that personal front, it really brought me face to face with some old patterns, especially around this hypervigilance, this feeling, needing to feel that I need to protect myself. And it really also brought up a whole lot of, I reconnected with a part of me from high school who felt really stupid. Like there was this whole feeling of comparing myself to others, but feeling dumb and stupid and embarrassed by that. And so I did a lot of really deep inner child and parts work that week. There was a lot of soul retrievals. There was a lot about integrating those fragments of me that had been kind of neglected, and some of that came up in a really confronting ways. And my body has been a really big teacher for me. There was one part that really, really scared me. And I was clearing up the kangaroo poop around the property. And I do that every week. And I put it into our organics waste bin. And I was doing it and I just started sneezing. And I'm just like, oh, that's unusual. Then I started to have these asthma-like symptoms. And I thought, oh, I've just got to keep clearing up. There's a couple more piles left. And I just went, I can't breathe. I'm having some sort of a reaction. It's like an anaphylactic reaction. And I left the piles of poop and I went inside and my daughter was there and I said, Dad, I can't breathe. And it was having this very obvious, finding it hard to get breath. And John came, and it's interesting because he was doing his first aid renewal certificate. He'd been doing the online part of it. And he's like, cool, I know what to do. So he got me breathing in and out of a bag. He got my asthma medication and he just really, really reassured me. And it took probably, I was thinking I needed to go to hospital. But then it's like, how do you get an ambulance out in the bush? But he really calmed me down. My daughter, I think it really scared her, but the reassurance there of my husband. And I sat with that and it was just like the physical reaction. But I went, oh, this is really interesting. I've been doing a lot of inner child work. And there was the part of me that had come forward that was scared to let go because I wasn't sure of what would happen, if there would be anybody there to support me if I did. And that episode, as scary as it was really comforting because it showed me that had I stayed out and, cleared up and been this strong woman and going, I have to clear up all the poo and ignore what's happening, I probably would have, who knows what the outcome of that would have been. But I went in, I let my daughter know, I allowed them to look after me. And I am forever grateful for them. But that was such a healing because it took me right back to the scared feeling that I had of that reaction was how I felt as a kid when I used to have asthma. And I was in and out of hospital. Sorry, I didn't think this. Have I done a podcast episode where I haven't cried? That I felt so scared. And it was like it was the younger version of me. I think it was probably the 6 and 7 and 8-year-old version of me who was in and out of hospital with very severe asthma and bronchitis, and how scared I was then. And it took me back to her. And then she came forward and we did a lot of healing and integration, because I haven't connected with that part of me for, I would say, the best part of 50 years. And I reintroduced her, I integrated her back into me, and I reassured her, it was like, what does she need now that she didn't get? And there was a whole lot of stuff around that safety and feeling protected. So that was a big theme that had been coming up for me. And so I came out of that episode, I'm safe, my body's super wise. I don't need to associate illness with support anymore. And I am supported in my wellness and a whole lot of stuff that I am supported. And it is safe to be who I am, and it is safe to let go. And then, oh my goodness, goodness. This was huge. This is still in week 3. So this was an ancestral release, and it had been sort of little trickles. This was so profound. So this was just before the new moon. So this was happening. So new moon is about, setting intentions. It's also about that renewal around things as well. So if you go back to if you've been listening to any of my podcasts, if you haven't listened to previous ones, there are ones there where I've talked about family photographs, and the ones when I dropped the box of heirloom photographs that nearly broke me. And that was part of the moving in, and that was another layer of letting go before. But this box of photographs of, people from our family that I don't even know who they are. And they were in, beautiful bound compendiums and photo albums. And I was thinking about, what do I do with this box of photographs? And it has kind of gradually made its way to the main house. And I thought, I am going to have a ceremony. I'm not just going to throw them out and dispose of them. I'm going to have a ceremony, a releasing ceremony, and I'm going to burn them. Now, for some people, you might think that's a little bit dishonoring. But what do you do with these photographs? Like, where do you put them? You keep them in a box. I think that's dishonoring them. My kids, I don't even know who's in these photos. I know some of them that are in the photographs, but a lot of them I don't even know. My kids are not going to want to have that energy around when I'm no longer here. So I had made the decision that I was going to have a ceremony, a ritual about the releasing, and really honor the memories. And I've got digital copies of these photographs anyway. So it was about honoring the memories, and I had decided I was going to do it on a particular day, which just happened to be the day before a new moon. And I then had the ceremony. That was the day that this beautiful amulet came as well, and talisman. So I popped it on, and then I sat around the fire and I burned these photographs. And it was a ritual, it was a release, and it was just hugely, hugely cathartic. And I could feel that these weren't just pictures. This was weight, it was heaviness, it was history, it was patterns that didn't belong to me. And as the smoke rose, I felt the generations of silence and repression, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, but I felt the release of ancestral patterns and the heaviness that I had been carrying, just releasing. And then it cracked open this whole ancestral healing. And I felt my mother, I felt her mother, and I felt all the women before them standing with me. And this was very much about the maternal line. And I felt their longing and their freedom. And the message that came forward was, we have been restricted. We have felt confined. We have felt that it's not okay to have to be seen or to be heard. And this pattern that just went back through the generations down my maternal mother line, ancestral line, and then my paternal mother lineage. So my dad's mother and her lineage of females, they came and joined us and said, we too have felt that it's not okay to be seen or to be heard. And it was this whole, I could see all the women, those really stoic women in the photographs, that they all came to me. And it was just like, it ends with me. That ancestral pattern of being confined, of feeling not okay to be who we truly are, that has happened, that I have carried that through the females in my lineage. And the message was that stops with me. And so I did a beautiful, the labyrinth has played such a powerful releasing part. So I was able, oh shit, I can't even see now because I've got so many tears in my eyes that it's like it stops with me, and I gave them what they hadn't had in their lifetimes, that it was this rest and release and this freedom. And when going back to what the Ayurvedic practitioner had asked me, what does it feel like to be free? It was just like, oh, this is part of what that feels like. This is more than just, oh, what do I do while I'm here at the coast? It's like a ancestral healing around freedom and release. And the wound was kind of felt like it was woven into this wholeness. And I even talked with my daughter. So it was about releasing ancestral, deep ancestral wounds, but future wounds as well. So my daughter just coincidentally said to me, I think the day that I had done that release, she said, Mum, I don't know what it is, but something shifted in me. And she said, I just feel like I've let go of something. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. She said, I feel like I've let go of something. And I just, like, holy fuck, I've let go of something. And the ancestral healing isn't just about the past, it's about the future. That was huge. Oh my God, that was huge. That was huge. Oh, I wasn't sure that's where this was going to go. I told you it was going to be a long one. So it kind of felt like there was this cosmic confirmation. And I went to the beach. I actually went to the beach because, beach is my, my happiest of happy places. And I went to the beach, and just when I was at the beach, there was this pelican. There was a pelican that just came and landed. And pelicans are my soul animals. There's something about pelicans that when I see them, they bring a message. And the pelican just glided in and just landed, and that was a cosmic confirmation. And then when I was walking further along the beach, there was a sea eagle that just flew over, and it just kind of flew, and it looked at me, and I'm sure it winked. It flew low, and that they were, that sovereignty, that power, that freedom. It was just so sacred. That was huge. Sorry, we're still only on week 3 here. And so this was all the personal healing. While that was happening, I was also mapping out my business and, getting clarity that I haven't had for the past 18 months. I really haven't had that clarity. I've sort of had this high level stuff, but it's just like that's been part of the seatbelt. It's going, oh, what am I doing here? What do I want to do? And I just feel like I want to do stuff, but I can't do stuff. And this feeling of stuckness. So I really got clear about, I just mapped out all my current offers and all the things that I want to do and what I've been doing, the things that I want to create. And I realized that some of the things that I thought I'd be winding down, like my VIP immersions, my corporate, my executive coaching, I love those. And I'm not going to wind those down. But, and it's given me and it's interesting, the day that I made that decision was I got 7 new executive coaching clients. Like the day that I made that decision. And I was just like, yep, sure, keep doing that because it feels good. Keep doing it till it no longer feels good. And then I've been mapping out all these other stuff. So I really got clarity. And coming into this 33 days, I wanted clarity. I really wanted clarity. And I got clarity about what I want to streamline, what I want to expand, the flow of my business. I really began shaping my business master plan, my core messaging, my offers, my queen calendar, my funnels, and the clarity feels really light and spacious and exciting. And I've got really clear about who I will allow into my world and who I will work with and who I will not work with, and not I'm not for everybody and not everybody is for me. So, and I've really got clarity about how I'm going to, well, have I really got clarity? I'm getting clarity about how I'm going to show up. And there's not going to be, there's never been hard sell stuff, but it's really about if you want it, great. If not, then that's cool as well. And there'll be lots of private, quiet invites into my world. And if you want to do stuff, then that's completely cool. And it feels very light, but very expansive at the same time. And I also did a lot of work this week about what does freedom and living my best and most beautifully, richly abundant life, what does that really feel like? And what does that? And there was a thread that started coming through for me is, I don't know what it feels like to be free. I don't know what it feels like. I have this image of what it's like. It's this working towards freedom. But when I sat with it and said, well, what does it actually feel like to be free? My body went, it's like, I don't know. And it was just, it was like that safety stuff, that it's safe to be free. It's okay to be free. The past doesn't own me, that I can breathe, I'm supported, I am healed. And this was about mapping not just the wealth strategies and the abundance strategies, but my energetic wealth and what does freedom actually feel like with, without that feeling of not feeling safe. And so there was strategy in week 3, absolutely, but there was a lot of ceremony. Oh my gosh, releasing the past, reclaiming my power and building my queendom from the soul, but also the structure. That felt so good. And then week 4, this was really about the revival and my North Star messaging and a beautiful closing ceremony. So this was all about stepping into my revival and being the queen of my life. Not as some distant future version of me, but as the living, breathing, gorgeous woman that I already am. Early in the week, I connected with this part of me and she came alive. So revival, when I was on my walk, she just came through and her energy is vibrant. She's sassy. She's magnetic. She's knowledgeable. She's deeply caring. She is hugely wise, unapologetically herself. She doesn't push. She doesn't hustle. She moves in her own rhythm. She moves a lot with devotion and remembering who she is. And she reminded me that we don't retreat when it gets hard, that we gently rise anyway. And that I really had, so my morning walks now, I call my revival walks, that I hang out with this beautiful part of me that I have connected with. And it's about embodying the queen of my life and who I am. And in this same week, so the last week, I really went down this rabbit hole of astrology. And it was just about, I'm not even sure what led me there. There was something, but oh my God, it was deep. Like I would say that I'm an intermediate novice around astrology. I probably still am, but oh my goodness, this was just so beautiful, exploring the rabbit hole of my astrology and how profoundly that had reflected what I was going through in the releasing and the letting go. And there was some bits that it said about my family lineage, and that now is the time that ancestral patterns will stop with me. And I'm like, holy shit, that's what I did like 2 days before. And then there was this bit about, I'd sort of written, bliss has been such a guiding light for me for so long. And I think I had, there is a ChatGPT astrology bit that kind of took me very, very deep very quickly. But I said, what am I here? What am I really here to do? And the message that came back, and this just landed with me, like it said, I'm here to remember beauty into the world, that to live a beautiful life and to share my experiences so others can also live a beautiful life. And I just burst into tears and I went, oh my God, like I just really anchored into this North Star messaging that I had organically written but it was what my friggin' astrology, like the minute that I was born into this world, that was what I was here to do. And I bought this pencil case. Oh, when is it? It's probably 10, 15 years ago on one of my travels. And it says, I am going to make everything around me beautiful. That will be my life. And that's a quote from Elsie de Wolfe. And I have kept that in pristine. I have kept it here by my side. And I just went, oh my God, that is my life. And that pencil case from, this random shop on our holidays, however many years ago, was not random at all. That's what I'm here to do. I am here to remember beauty into this world. That feels very, very, very cool. And it felt like it was just that going down the astrology rabbit hole. It's not just about this, beauty, not as a surface or as an aesthetic, but it's about soul deep beauty, the beauty of who you are. Like it's no coincidence that that's the messaging that I have. It's about really love who you are and be your own kind of beautiful, you do you, and love and honor and be who you are. So it's the soul deep beauty. It's the beauty of forgiveness. It's the beauty that even grief that gets alchemized into grace. It's the beauty of softness. It's the beauty of bliss and joy and connection. It's the beauty of the little moments that we have. It's the beauty of just being who you are. And I realize that I don't need to force others to come home to themselves. I embody that remembering, and in the doing, then that's potentially where others remember their own rememberings as well. So it's kind of given me this different, same, but different approach to life. It's kind of really is a beautiful reassurance that I am here to be who I am here to be. So I can strategize as much as I want. I can get into control as much as I want. But you know what? It's really about living a beautiful and blissful life and honoring who I am. And in that, the remembering others also have that remembering about who they are here to be. And sure, there's some bits that, I do that in a more structured way as well, but that really gave me beautiful reassurance. So the little phrase, I'm going to make everything around me beautiful and that will be my life. It's not just a quote. That is my remembering. It's a knowing, and it's my life's devotion to live beauty and bliss and to radiate it and to remember it into the world. That's all. That's all. So week 4, it was also really practical. It was, the offers, I mapped out my content pillars. I got clear on my signature ways that people work with me and felt into what I want to say, how I want to show up and what I want to create. And it's really stepping back into that as part of my visibility. And then the last day, the 33rd day, was the closing ceremony. And this was a really, really sacred moment of honoring who I was and celebrating who I am and calling her forward. I'm calling forward the woman that I'm becoming. So it's, in truth, she's already here. And I wrote this really beautiful letter of devotion to her. And, I named all those things that no longer fit, and I anchored what can't be undone. And I asked myself, what am I really a living transmission of? And who am I when nobody's watching? And the answer was really clear, that I am the queen of my life, that bliss is my frequency, that's my soul signature, and beauty is my devotion. And my presence, just by being here and living in the present moment, that's my purpose. Fuck, that was what freedom feels like. That is freedom. So the 33 days of devotion, they were exactly that. They were devotion to myself. I disappeared from the public. I was still working, I was still busy, but I wasn't sharing, I wasn't visible. I gave myself permission to step back and just be with me. Every day I shone a spotlight on myself, and the depth of what came through was phenomenal. It was profound, but here's something that kind of surprised me. So much of it is integrated so quickly that it feels really natural now. It feels normal. It's like just who I am. And to me, that's the sign that the healing is complete, or that layer of healing is complete. If I was still swimming in the emotions of it, I reckon that would mean that the wounds were still raw, but I feel really whole. I feel really complete, and I feel really healed, and I feel beautifully free. So at the heart of it, the process has cleared so much clutter and energetic debris. And do you know what? One of the big truths that dropped in for me, I think it was in the final week, was that I am the carrier of grief. That has been my role that has been assigned to me for many, many lifetimes, and this lifetime as well. And I pick up other people's grief and sadness in taking away their pain. But what I've done is I've taken on board their pain. And it has, that heaviness of life has carried me across many lifetimes. And, you know, taking on the grief, the pain, the burdens, so they don't have to. And it's all stored itself in me, that heaviness, the physical weight, the energetic weight and clutter, that it's not mine to carry. And I've been able to release that. And one of the things that came through was, I care, but I don't carry. I am no longer the carrier. I am no longer the collector. I am the transmitter. I am the alchemist. I turn that heaviness into light for myself and for others. That has been a huge, huge release. Such a huge release. Because I've carried so much heaviness in all my life and lifetimes. And to feel free of that is just so profound. The seatbelt just dissolved. The seatbelt had just dissolved. I think that was when I did that ancestral clearing, and that feeling that I don't have to carry the weight. It wasn't me undoing the seatbelt. It just dissolved. It just disappeared. So I didn't feel locked in anymore. I felt free. I know what it feels like now to feel free. It's like my body is just taking this huge exhale, and it's the biggest breath of release for the first time in so many years, not just the last 18 months, but the first time in so many years. So the whole journey has been clearing, it's been reclaiming, it's been a recalibration and a reset, but it's been my revival. Oh, sorry, I'm getting all that drippy tears. And the message is really clear that it's my time. It's my time to rise, my time to shine, and my time to butterfly. That's the words of Selena in Revival. So I hope that's been super long. Sorry, that's been hugely long. Sorry, no, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. I'm sorry that I said sorry. I'm not sorry. If you're interested, you'll still be here. If you're not, then that's not my issue. But it has been an amazing 33 days. And what you see of me online now, will that reflect that? Possibly. Will it capture the enormity of what happened? I'm not sure. But it has been enormous. It has been so incredibly profound. And it's still integrating, and it's still happening, and it's still beautiful. I still listen to my playlist every morning. I go on my revival walks. I connect with the parts of me that, you know, the younger versions of me, the parts that want to come forward, the disconnected versions, the connected. Every day, I am devoted to living my most beautiful and blissful life. And I'm just loving that you're here along the journey. And if you are interested in your own Queen of Your Life activation, I will be bringing that forward as an offering, an invitation for people. I'm not sure when. It will evolve hopefully this side of Christmas. But if you are interested in finding out more, just message me. You've messaged me on socials, email me, reply to the podcast, leave a comment, and I'd be more than happy to share with you, because that's just how I work. All right. Love you lots. And here's to you being the queen of your own life and the designer of your own glorious destiny. Love you lots. Keep being fabulous, gorgeous. Thanks for tuning in to Happy Go Fabulous. I hope you loved it. If you did, could I ask a big favour? Please subscribe, leave a review, and most importantly, share the love and let your besties know about the podcast. This will help get it into the hearts and ears of all the gorgeous souls who need a little bit of fabulous in their life. If you'd like some more high vibe happiness in your life, come and visit me on my Happiness Hive socials, and make sure you've signed up to my newsletter, your weekly drop of juicy goodness. Pop over to my Happiness Hive website and click on the link Working with Catherine. I'd love to help you make life amazing. Until next time, keep being fabulous.